Hello and welcome to the Center Stage 1 podcast at the historic Bay Street Theater in downtown Eustis. I'm your host, John Nettles, and this podcast is your sneak peek into the lives of the creative people here in Central Florida. Today, we have with us Dennis Cutter, president of the board of directors and production coordinator for Bay Street Players here. Before we get into all that, let's start with a bit of your background as far as acting and such. Can you tell me about the first time that you remember being interested in acting or theater?
Well, I loved acting in like church productions, school productions as a kid. Wanted to do it in high school, but just never really had the opportunity at the time. And it just kind of got moved to the back burner. But I was always kind of that weird kid doing voice impressions in the back of the classroom. So like some of the stuff I got in trouble for years ago is actually things that I'm doing now for fun. So that's kind of nice. But when I got into my 20s, I kind of fell into the pro wrestling business where I was into martial arts at the time. I had a conversation with Dory Funk Jr., NWA world champion, great coach up in Ocala, and got into one of his wrestling camps. And ended up spending 6 years in the professional wrestling business. So wow. I learned how to act and improv a lot while getting hit in the head with various things.
So most of your training comes from pro wrestling training?
Yeah, you'd be surprised how much acting is involved with pro wrestling. Not that it's fake. We don't use the F word. Don't ever do that with a wrestler. You'll get in trouble.
Bleep that out here.
Yeah, bleep that out. But you got to learn how to improvise. You got to do the physical comedy and action. You know, it's stage combat. It's stunt coordination. You got to be able to cut a promo, you know, where you're doing an interview segment against your opponent that night. 9 times out of 10, that's not scripted. You got to come up with that on the fly. Sometimes lately, more with WWE, they do have script writers. But if you go back in my day, like Roddy Piper, if you tried to hand him a script, he'd make you eat it. You know, so you had to learn how to do your lines on the fly, stay in character, and push the match.
Okay. Did you have a character or persona?
I did. And speaking of Roddy, I actually stole a lot of his gimmick. I was the Highland Strangler. Borrowed. You know, it's not complete copyright infringement. But I used to wrestle in a kilt. You know, I have a Scottish background, heritage-wise, and used some of my MMA stuff that I was doing for mixed martial arts previously, translated that into a character that, you know, never won by pinfall, always by submission. So tap out, choke out, or knockout, but, you know.
Wow. How it's got to be very different.
Yeah.
Acting.
Oh man.
Doing that level of acting with wrestling and all that, and then acting on the stage. Talk to me about the big, obviously physically, but some of the other biggest differences.
Well, you know, I'm not getting hit in the head with a folding chair on a nightly basis, so that's kind of nice.
For the most part.
Yeah. Although, you know, I can still take a bump if I need to, but it's more about crowd interaction. It's more about having a scene partner. It's more about being in character that contributes to a storyline as a whole. So you're part of a bigger picture when you're acting on stage, which I kind of like. Although I end up playing in a lot of narrator parts because there's not a lot of physicality in that. You know, I got bad knees and the bad back, and you know, I'm well past my romantic lead days. So you know, I'm always the weird guy off to the side telling the story.
Okay. So I know you kind of touched on it a second ago too. Voice acting.
Yes.
Talk to me about that. I'm fascinated by that.
Well, I was in a couple different fan projects, a couple of YouTube channels doing some voice acting work. We did a production of the Kingdom Keepers book series, which was like fantasy sci-fi series set in the Magic Kingdom that Ridley Pearson wrote years ago. Very popular with kids at the time. My daughter was kind of part of the production team on that, and it was a lot of recording during COVID. So occasionally I get a knock on my door when I'm seeing patients online, and it's like, hey, Dad, I need a pirate. Can you work up something for me? It's like, okay, give me 20 minutes. Let me finish up this report, and then I'll jump on the mic real quick. But, you know, whether it's Wayne, the old Imagineer that lives in the park, or a security guard, or one of the pirates that played Blackbeard at one point, Timon and Pumbaa, you know, basically whatever was needed at the time, I would jump on the mic, put down some tracks, and then she'd weave it into the production that they put on their YouTube channel.
Yeah. So you get your hand in a lot of different places throughout the years.
Yeah, it's a weird, convoluted story. You know, a lot of people think that time is a linear thing, but it's very much a ball of wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff, as David Tennant would say. So, you know, you cross paths with a lot of people and you do a lot of things over the years, but it's been a good ride.
Yeah. With being in such different sects of kind of what feels like the kind of the same overarching thing with acting.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the communities and the differences between those three specifically.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think community theater needs community with a capital C. You know, we're very much trying to be involved with the community because we do things that professional theaters can't. You know, professional theaters hire professional actors, professional performers, whereas we give an opportunity to people that have maybe never stood on stage in their lives, an opportunity to live out that dream. And we also have our youth program, our YPT, in its 50th season. And they're in the middle of production for Wizard of Oz right now. These kids are able to find themselves through theater. I mean, it's literally creative process, creative outlet. It's therapeutic. So we're giving a service to the community by people giving a chance to have a place where art lives.
Okay. I normally save this question for the end, but you mentioned it being therapeutic for people.
Yeah.
As the president of the board of directors and production coordinator and all that jazz, why is theater important to you?
Well, for me as an actor, we'll get into the political stuff, but as me as an actor, for 2 hours a night, I don't have to be me. I can get out of my own head. I can be somebody else. I can be somewhere else. I can tell a story. I can be around other people that I don't see on a day-to-day basis. And for me, that escape gives me a chance to hit the reset button. As more president and producer, I'm giving other people that same opportunity to have that same rush that I get when I'm on stage. Because I know how wonderful it can feel when you got a full house and you did something great and people are applauding it. You know, we kind of love the attention a little bit. And for me to want that, I'd want that same feeling for other people.
I feel like you don't get into wrestling and then theater if you don't love the attention.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of like the spotlight a little bit, but
just a little bit. So how did you get into things here with Bay Street?
Okay. Well, originally, again, blaming this on my daughter, who got me into the whole voice acting thing with her project. She acted here. She was part of an ensemble for a show called The Roar of the Grease Paint and Smell of the Crowd a few years ago. And we just had some open seats come available on the board of directors. And the vice president at the time was also my employer, Dr. Hector De Leon. Hey, Hector. He said, Dennis, your daughter's here. You can maybe contribute a little bit, be part of the process, and maybe help out. And I was like, sure. So I come in. And I become a voting member of the board and, you know, help out a little bit on the productions, you know, swing a hammer if I need to, fix a seam if I need to, and fill in for a bit part if I have one. Later on, our president at the time decided to step away. Hector becomes president. I walk into the board meeting and is like, oh, by the way, Dennis, you're the vice president. Great. And then eventually his term limit comes up. I become president. And then the production aspect of it too, you know, we need somebody to kind of manage productions, you know, make sure that royalties are getting sent out, contracts are being signed, you know, directors are being hired and things of that nature. That came open as a necessity too. So I got no experience in any of that, but I had kind of been here the longest out of the other board members at the time. So I kind of gravitated towards it and jumped in with both feet. There's a lot of days that I feel like a cross between Ted Lasso and Kermit the Frog, because I'm thrown into a fish out of the water situation a lot of times where I have to kind of think on my feet and rely on other people that know more than I do, but also it's controlled chaos. So that blend kind of keeps me going a little bit. And as much as I gripe and complain about the drama that happens off stage, it's necessary to keep the doors open.
Yeah.
So we do our best just to kind of keep the peace, get the show rolling, and, you know, keep people on the stage and in the seats.
Yeah. As I like to say, you can't have drama on stage without it off stage.
Yeah, typical, but, you know, sometimes you got to keep the peace.
Ted Lasso and Kermit the Frog. Can we get like an artist or someone to draw that up for us?
Don't use AI to do that. That's the thing of nightmares. Trust me.
So as this podcast is kind of a sneak peek to the creative people here in Central Florida, how did you end up in Central Florida?
Well, I'm originally from Western Maryland. Dad was a coal miner, got into an accident, got a nice settlement from the mine, got tired of the winters, and we moved south. Florida's been home since 1989. Tavares Middle, Tavares High, Lake Sumter, University of Florida. Florida is home at this point. And as far as Eustis in particular, I knew the existence of Bay Street. I've been to a couple shows before I was even involved with it. Avenue Q, like a decade ago, fantastic run. That's why we're bringing it back next year, maybe. And I was dating somebody who was an actress here when I was in high school. I can literally say I lost my first love to Conrad Birdie because Bye Bye Birdie was going on at the time. But,
Conrad.
Yeah, screw that guy. But, you get to the point that you keep coming back and he's like, I kind of get the bug. I kind of want to be part of this. Because, you see people on stage, it's like, yes, it terrifies me to no end to be in front of a crowd because it's been a minute. But I kind of like to do that.
Yeah.
So next thing you know, you go out for an audition and you land on a part that you like and you lean into it. Next thing you got the bug.
It is definitely a bug.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
And then you run into some good mentors along the way, too. Two of my biggest mentors that were part of an improv troupe that I joined in the interim. The Not Quite Right Players that was over in Leesburg at one point in time. Mark Thibault and Natalie Bollinger, fantastic people that broke me into that side of things. I had a little bit of idea what improv was about, but as far as the acting part, they schooled me on a lot of things on how to put a scene together, how not to lose your cool if you go off script. There's a lot of times that people forget their lines. I've done that. And the panic attack hits hard.
Yeah.
How to get through that.
Yep.
So, Natalie and Mark have been big influences for me.
Did you learn in the improv, was that before or after wrestling?
The improv classes themselves were after wrestling.
Okay.
So that was kind of a way of getting into more of the comedy side of things.
Yeah.
And not the combat side of things.
Yeah. As far as here at Bay Street, what productions and shows are coming up
Well,
that you're allowed to talk about?
We're revealing our full next season at the Voices of Oz Cabaret Night. So that's going to be the big reveal. We do have Escape to Margaritaville as our season finale coming up. So we're in pre-production for that. So a nice Jimmy Buffett musical full of sun and sand and romance and, lots of fun business with the Jimmy Buffett stuff. Should bring in lots of people that like to drink. So concessions are going to be great.
Should be a party.
Yeah.
I always end with this. If you could give an inspiring artist, and as someone who has kind of bounced back and forth in and out of performing in theater and all that, whether it's someone who's looking to start or someone who's looking to jump back into it,
Sure.
If you could give them one piece of advice, what would it be?
If it scares you, do it anyway. If you're nervous about it, do it anyway. If you feel like you're going to fail, do it anyway. Embrace your failures. Lean into it. Learn from your mistakes because it's not as easy as some people make it look. That's how you learn. That's how you grow as an artist. But you never get any progress until you start doing the thing. You have to take that first step. And until then, it's just an idea. Once an idea becomes an actual action, then it becomes something you can really embrace.
Yeah. I feel like that's just really good life advice in general.
Pretty much.
All right. Well, Dennis, where can people find out about the upcoming shows here?
Oh, well, our website is eustisstatetheater.org, and on all our socials, we're Bay Street Players on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We're on all the things. So, follow us on there. That'll give you an idea of what's coming up because we got a lot of cool stuff coming up. And this is a place to be. This is a place where art lives.
Yeah. And then your personal Instagram?
My personal Instagram is themadscientist.mtg, as in minding the gap. And that's me on Insta. So that has a lot of my little oddball character stuff.
All right. Well, thanks for being here. It's great chatting with you. Guys, this has been the Center Stage 1 podcast with our new friend, Dennis Cutter. And once again, I'm your host, John Nettles, and we'll see you next time.